Oscar Wilde, the modern millionaire. Hughie Erskine was a good-looking man. Hughie Erskine was the best-looking gentleman in London. He had curly brown hair, grey eyes, and a handsome face. He also had many friends. However, Hughie Erskine did not have much money. His father had been an officer in the army. His father was dead. Now Hughie Erskine had his father's word and a few books, but no money. Hughie Erskine had tried to do several jobs. He had worked for a tea merchant selling tea. He had worked for a wine merchant selling wine. But poor Hughie was not good at anything. Hughie Erskine was in love and wanted to get married. He loved Laura Merton, the daughter of an army officer. Laura loved Hughie, but her father didn't want them to get married. You are a fine young man, Colonel Merton said to Hughie, but you have no money. My daughter cannot marry a man with no money. You may marry my daughter when you have £10,000. Hughie did not have £10,000. He did not have £10. His old aunt gave him £4 or £5 a week. Today he had only £1 in his pocket. Hughie Erskine was almost broke. Hughie had a friend called Alan Trevor. Alan was an artist who painted pictures of people. He was a good artist and quite famous. Many people wanted him to paint their portrait. People came to Alan's studio. Alan painted their portraits in the studio. Alan's pictures were very expensive. He only painted a picture for each man. Hughie Erskine visited Alan Trevor in his studio. Alan was working on a painting. "What do you think of this?" asked Alan Trevor. "And what do you think of my model?" Hughie Erskine looked at the painting. It was a picture of an old beggar. Alan was painting a picture of a man who was standing in the corner of the studio. The model was an old man dressed in old, torn clothes. The old man's face was sad. With one hand he held out a hat. In the other hand he held a stick. "My model is wonderful," said Alan. "Have you ever seen such a wonderful beggar?" "Poor old man," said Hughie. "How sad he looks." "Of course," said Alan. "I don't want a beggar to look happy." "How much is a model paid for standing in your studio?" asked Hughie. "Not much," answered Alan. "Only a shilling an hour." "And how much money do you get when you sell a picture?" asked Hughie. "For this picture, I will get £2,000, said Alan. "You're a rich man. I think the model should get some of the money," said Hughie. No sense, said Alan. "It's difficult to be a painter. It's not difficult to be a beggar. Few people can paint pictures, anyone can beg." "But many people want to be rich and famous painters," said Hughie. No one wants to be a poor beggar. You artists are very unkind." Alan Trevor laughed. "I'm very busy," he said. "Sit down and stop talking." A servant came in. "A gentleman is outside, sir. He wants you to paint this portrait." "Can you speak to him, please?" "Don't go away," Alan said to Hughie. "I'll be back in a moment." Alan left the room. The old beggar sat down on a chair and rested. His hat was still in his hand. The old man looked so sad that Hughie felt so sorry for him. Hughie put his hand in his pocket. He had £1. It was the last of his money. "Well, he needs the money more than I do," thought Hughie. Hughie went across the room and put £1 in the old man's hat. The old man was very surprised. He looked at the money and smiled. "Thank you, sir," he said. "Thank you very much." Alan Trevor came back in the studio and Yui laughed. He went to see Laura and told her about the beggar. You gave all your money away, said Laura. That was very foolish. My father will never let me marry a foolish man. You are very foolish, but you are very kind and I love you very much. That night, Yui met Alan traveling at a club. Alan was looking very pleased. I finished the picture, said Alan, and my model was very interested in you. He asked me lots of questions. Poor old man, said Yui. I wish I could help him. What did he ask you about me? He wanted to know everything about you, said Alan. And what did you tell him? I told him everything, said Alan. I told him all about you. I told him about Laura. I told him about Laura's father. I told him you want to marry Laura, but I have no money. Alan, said Yui angrily. You told him all about my private business? Don't be angry, said Alan. You don't know who I was painting the picture for. I was painting it for the Baron von Asberg. He is one of the richest men in Europe. Baron von Asberg was my model. The Baron dressed up as an old beggar. The Baron von Asberg, cried Yui. You mean that old beggar was the Baron himself? Yes, said Alan. But I gave him a pound, said Yui. Now I felt foolish. You gave you a pound? Said Alan. That's the funniest things I ever had. Alan Trevor could not stop laughing. Yui Erskine walked on. He felt foolish. He had given his last pound to a millionaire. Laura's father will hear about this. The colonel will never let his daughter marry a fool. The next day, Yui Erskine had a visitor. Yui did not know the man. How can I help you? Asked Yui. I have come from the Baron von Asberg, said the visitor. The Baron von Asberg, said Yui Erskine. I did not know him when we met yesterday. I want to tell the Baron that I'm sorry. I think I was rude to him. The visitor smiled. You were not rude to the Baron, he said. The Baron asked me to give you this. He gave Yui an envelope. Yui thanked him and looked at the envelope. These words were written on the envelope. A wedding present to Yui Erskine and Laura Merton. From an old beggar. Inside a check for £10,000. The couple were brimming with happiness and laughter. All kindness, support, and generosity will never go unrewarded.
The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde. Once upon a time, a beautiful statue stood in the middle of a town square. It was the statue of a prince. His body was covered in shiny gold leaf, and his eyes and the dagger on his belt were ornamented with precious gemstones. From his place on the square, he could see everything going around him. People called him the Happy Prince. One cold and windy night, a swallow wandered into the square. The other swallows had all gone south for the winter, but this one had gotten lost and was left behind. Cycling the square, the swallow stopped at the statue of Happy Prince. It's so cold to fly tonight. I will stay here for the night. It's so cold. As the swallow settled down, a drop of water fell on his head. Oh, it's cold. Can it be raining? The swallow and saw that the sky was clear. It wasn't raining at all. Where did that drop of water come from then? Curious, the swallow flew to the top of the statue. When he reached at the top, he saw that the prince's eyes were filled with tears. Why are you crying, Prince? I am crying because I'm sad. Why? How could you be sad? I was once a happy prince, and all my days were filled with joy. Now, when I'm a statue, I can look over the whole town. I see so much misery and poverty. Swallow, just take a look at the little house there. Where? The swallow looked over the prince pointed. He saw an old run-down house. A sick child lay on the bed inside. That child is very ill, but the family is too poor to buy medicine she needs. Oh, how sad! Swallow, will you do something for me? Pluck out the ruby from my dagger and bring it to that house. If they sell it, they will have enough money to buy the medicine. Of course, I will do as you ask. The swallow plucked out the ruby and carried it to the child house. The following day, the swallow stayed in the square. He wanted to stay with the prince a little longer. In the afternoon, he flew up to the prince's shoulder to say farewell. Goodbye, prince. I must fly south now. Swallow, can I ask one more favor before you go? There is a young man living in an attic on that side of the village. He is writing a novel, but he's so poor that he hasn't eaten anything in days. Can you please take one of my sapphire eyes and bring it to him? Your eye. Very well, prince. The swallow took one of the prince's eyes and flew to the writer in the attic. When he discovered the sapphire, the poor writer shed tears of joy because he knew he wouldn't starve. The swallow didn't go south that day, but he was very happy. The next day, the swallow trying to say goodbye to the prince once more. I'm so sorry, swallow, but I have one last favor to ask of you. Do you see that girl selling matches in the street? Give my other eye. I can do that. You will be blind, the prince. It doesn't matter. Please give my eye to that poor girl. The swallow took out the prince's last remaining eye and dropped it into the manger's basket. Where did this come from? Oh, swallow, thank you so much.
With this sapphire, I can stay warm this winter. Thank you so much. Now that the prince had given away both of his, he couldn't see anymore. Thank you, Swallow. You have helped me very much. I know I have kept you back too long. Please fly south now. I cannot leave you alone now. I will be your eyes. The swallow had grown to love the prince for his generous heart, and wanted to stay with him. From that day on, the swallow stayed by the prince and flew around the town, telling the prince about everything he saw. Hey, you'll be back, prince. I saw some homeless children living under a bridge. They will soon starve or freeze to death. Oh, please, strip some gold leaf from my body and bring it to those children. Yes, prince. Every day the swallow would strip bits of gold from the prince's body and bring them to those who are ill or in need. As more and more people became happy, the prince's body grew more and more ugly. Winter came and the swallow could feel his body freezing. One snowy day, he flew up to the prince's face and kissed him. You have taught me the true meaning of happiness, thank you. As he said those words, the swallow fell to the ground and died. My faithful swallow, oh, you didn't fly yourself and died because of me. Even my gold can't save you, my poor little swallow. Tears flowed from the prince's empty eyes, and a cracking sound came from the deep within his body.
The cold winter winds passed, and the warm sunshine of spring filled the air. The villagers emerged into the square to drink in the sunlight and saw what they became of Prince's statue. They pointed their fingers at him, saying, "Look in that! What has happiness to the statue? It looks dreadful, more like a homeless prince, not a happy one. This statue is making the whole square look grubby. We've got to tear it down right away." Tear down. The villagers tore down the statue and cast it into the fire to melt it down. Oddly, as the statue melted away into the heat, the prince's lad heart remained. Looking down over the earth, God turned in one of his angels and said, Bring me to most beautiful things in the world. Yes, Lord. The angel floated down to earth and brought back the frozen body and the swallow, and the princess led the heart. Good was very pleased. The people do not understand what true happiness really is. The swallow and the prince will live eternally in heaven. The prince and the swallow lived happily ever after in heaven. But sometimes they would look down upon the world and shed tears for the people below.